We've traversed the tombs of Naxxramas. We've climbed every cliff on Black Rock. Now the world cries out for heroes as a new evil rises. There will be danger. There will be doom. There will be ancient temples filled with relics, treasures, and traps. Who will answer the call?
Explorers lead, and we are in need of explorers. Adventure we seek, cross land and sea. Born to come and join us.
Yes!
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed watching the music during the short break. We're back for the last match of the day, and also, Lothar, the last match of the first stage, or the first phase of the group stage. So that's going to be a pretty determining match for at least one of these players.
This is the last match of the first group stage, and after that, we'll know the final players to form the new groups for the second group stage. Also, we'll know the 4 eliminated players, and it looks unfortunately set for the Hotform, right, in this group.
I mean, basically, I think if Hotform is able to win, even if he wins against Dog, I think because he lost the match he had versus Stan Sivka, he loses the head-to-head. So I think he's locked in 5th place. However, there is a chance, unless I'm mistaken, that if Dog wins, he ends up 1st place, like he is at the moment. He stays there. But because Life Coach loses to Cypher in the head-to-head, do you think Cypher moves up, or is the differential in points?
That makes no sense.
Right, because I think Life Coach is locked in 2nd.
Cypher should be already on the 2nd place instead, right now.
Yeah, so I'm not mistaken, right? Cypher is currently 2nd because he beat Life Coach in the head-to-head, or does that not matter because it has more to do with the differential in points?
I would like to answer you, but...
Yeah, well, we'll wait for clarifications from the admins, because from my understanding, the head-to-head matters a bit. If it doesn't matter and it's all about the points, then Life Coach is the player who got the 2-3-0s. Right, so he ends up getting the best score. So we'll see exactly how that works out. That being said, Dog will want to win this just to make sure that he just he secures a spot in the top 2, no matter what happens.
Yeah, but for now, the last match will be between Dog and Hotform, and let's see that aggressive. Wait, that's not Cypher.
Yeah, I think if Dog loses, Dog is out of the top 2 just because Cypher beat him in the 1-on-1, and Cypher also beat Life Coach. But
then Life Coach is still in top 2
because he beat Dog, right?
Huh.
So no, actually, Dog beat Life Coach. So if Dog wins, I think Life Coach is out of the top 2. Whatever. I really don't know. I feel like I know because I calculate the head-to-head, but if it's actually down to points, then suddenly I don't know. I feel pretty clueless. You know, these casters are the best casters. They provide such exceptional observations and calculations. We obviously know what we're talking about. That feels good.
We obviously know what's happening, so yeah.
Yeah, it's...
We'll see during the games when we get some more information, so we can act like we're actually reading and, thinking about that ourselves. So no one helps us with getting that information.
Yeah, I want to say one thing, though, as far as the lineups go. I feel like Hotform with his Ram Druid and his Zombie Chows, I mean, he's basically memed the Zombie Chow this stage. The meme of the tournament is essentially Hotform and his Zombie Chows, because he plays 2 in Shaman, 2 in Druid, and he also plays 2 in his Paladin, I think. Which basically means that he always has a chance to draw poorly in the mid-game, late-game when he doesn't need them. And so far, it's really hurt him in most of the matches that he's played. In his Warlock, sorry, not Paladin.
I mean, the amount of Zombie Chows do then high. That's what I would like to say.
Yeah, it's exceptional, actually, to see Ram Druid with the Aspirants, playing Zombie Chows on top of it all. We'll see, however, if it's able to beat Dog. Dog is playing a Rogue. He's the only player to have brought Rogue. Hotform is the only player to have brought Shaman. And the Rogue, I feel, against Ram Druid, if it keeps getting walled by taunts, all the time, then that can really put the Rogue in a bad spot if they don't get crazy Blade Flurries. But otherwise, it also makes Sap even more impactful.
Yeah, that all depends if the druid player will get his permanent ramp or the temporary ramp with innervate, because innervates can be countered by saps, but wild growth cannot be sapped, and that's the problem. So if you just if you push to use sap against the force of nature against an ancient of war, and the ancient of war will just replayed next turn. In most situations, the druid will not care about the damage that was pushed during that turn when the sap was used, unless he's just dead. And because when he's secured behind those walls of taunts, then he can just push for damage and not care about the minions on rogue part at all. And especially he will be sure of that way of playing if the eviscerate will be already out of the way.
Yeah, that makes a pretty big difference. Now, Hotform is playing a Malygos Warlock with Blackwing Technicians. That is not something that you see systematically in Malygos Warlock. People often play the Imp Gang boss in that exact slot because it gives you a little bit more guaranteed value, whereas the Blackwing forces you to be holding dragons, right? Yeah, I mean, a 3/5 is good, but sometimes...
That would be the first time I would actually see Hotform using it on turn 3 or 2. In the whole 2 days of playing.
Yeah, I think you have to throw the heal bot and the Corruptor, and you keep... I mean, you might keep Corruptor against Paladin, just because you might be able to clean up some of the low health threats that he's dropped, or say a Paladin Shredder that's being played on 4.
So... And I think I would rather just keep the Blackwing Technician and Twilight Guardian. Keeping only the Technician seems kind of weird because you really want to have a dragon already, and Twilight Guardian is okay in this scenario. Oh wow! Turn 1 zombie chow. No way.
That's good.
It is.
Well, the second one, is going to be, another zombie chow. Well, hello, mate. Now, the thing with the zombie chows is that Hotform always draws the first one at an appropriate time, and the second one, literally, when he can't afford it. Yep. So, let's see if he's never lucky, or if he's sometimes fortunate.
Double zombie chows in one. It's kind of like a cruel scenario to board control, because you don't want to dark bomb that. You usually would like to just use the zombie chows on each other, but then one of the players might take advantage of that, especially if Paladin has Massive Battle or the Warlock has a Mortal Coil.
Right, that's the tricky part, is both players don't want to play into the other one's answers. I feel like Hotform's Blackwing Tech in this exact case is better than Imp Gang Boss by a tiny margin. Just because it stays up on 3 health after killing the Chow if it gets coined out. There's also the option, of course, of the Dark Bomb.
Yeah, but would you use the Dark Bomb here in this scenario? What about just developing the Blackwing Technician? Feels like a more powerful play.
I might even life tap, honestly, because I can coin Hellfire if he plays Muster. I think that's fine.
Okay, that makes sense. But if you play Blackwing Technician, then you don't need the Hellfire at all, because the Blackwing Technician will scoop those 1/1s just for a few turns, right? And that's it. And you don't want to use the Hellfire that soon.
No, I like that that line of thinking. I think it actually makes quite a bit of sense. Right now, Dog is threatening the Blessing of Kings on the Zombie Chow. I think there might have been a really good argument for simply attacking first with a Zombie Chow and then shielding it, such that you have a Blessing of Kings.
Agreed. That would be perfect. Perfect scenario for the Blessing of Kings with Divine Shield on board. That would be really awesome.
Yeah, but he still gets it, right? No problem.
He still gets it, but he has 3 more damage on the Zombie Chow. Sorry, 1 more damage on the Zombie Chow.
Right. Slight. It's a slight difference. It's really not usually going to add up, but you see here the Dark Bomb could have taken it out. If it had more health. Oh, well, there it goes.
And
it actually matters.
It
actually matters. That is insane. This is the one little difference in the play. And suddenly the Chow dies. It heals Hotform, and he can start playing with his coin with the Emperor on the following turn based on this.
Imagine if that wouldn't be possible, and Hotform would have to sacrifice both Dark Bomb and Hellfire to kill that. That is just crazy nuts.
Yeah, this is actually a marginal case of a tiny gameplay difference that actually changes the course of an entire game. It's funny because you tend to see, you know, some novice and intermediate players ask, you know, what am I doing wrong? And oftentimes it's little plays like these where you don't really necessarily think about saving 1 health on a 1-drop on turn 4, but then it turns the entire game around. And this is, I think, one of the most noticeable ones that I've seen in a while.
Yep, I agree. It seems like a very important decision that we had to take.
All right, no luck with saving the 1/1s. He's going to have to lose the Silverhand Recruit, which makes the Quartermaster a little worse. Wow, that's a really good turn for Hotform.
And there's no easy answer from Dog here. The Blessing of Kings, the second Blessing of Kings. Might
Well,
help.
actually,
Oh my! Now that makes sense. You just get the Divine Shield on the Knife Juggler or the Keeper of Ulduvan, and you clear a minion with just the Divine Shield. But if it lands on the 1/1, then it's kind of sad.
so do you sacrifice the 1/1 for safety purposes?
Well, actually, yes, because then you can clear. You sacrifice the 1/1 first, then you get the Divine Shield. You attack with the Cockhammer and the other minion to kill the 3/5, and then you play Blessing of Kings on the Divine Shielded minion and clear the 7 HP Twilight Drake. And that was guaranteed if you would sacrifice
it's only weak
the
to
1/1.
BGH, right?
But you should go for it anyway, right?
He's gonna reduce the size and strength of that Twilight Drake.
I
Seems like he. Well, I mean, if the knife hits, it's fine, right? Well, it had like a 66% chance of working out if he makes the trade. If he doesn't, then it's a bit
I don't like that because you're overextending to a Hellfire so badly.
into coil, for instance.
Yeah, that's even better. I mean, you're playing against a deck that plays to big game hunters. It's of course true, but at the same time, you have that Blessing of Kings for a reason, and that trade was just so good. I don't think you can pass up on that.
Yeah, and that's a full clear for Hotform. He attacks, he hellfires, and he calls the 3/4 that's left over, and he basically resets the board if he wants it, unless he wants to play this, which apparently he does. Cycling and cycling, trying to find an answer to the possible Tyrion on turn 8. He
Well,
does run into it.
I like that he tapped instead of the Mortal Coil. The damage might not matter that much against a Paladin that will stack, and he gets the +1 card. Ooh, Big Game Hunter for the top of the deck.
That would be an insane top deck. I mean, he may not even need it immediately. He could wait 1 turn to pull it off, because he can still protect himself, right? If he wants, either through a heal, through a dragon. The heal looks a lot more tempting. But how much damage is that? We're talking about 10 with the Tyrion. Alright, so we're getting confirmation from the admins that if Dog wins, he gets first place, as we thought, and Life Coach will be second, no matter what. So, in a nutshell, it will not
Wait,
really
that's in this scenario where Dog wins. What if Hotform wins?
If Hotform wins, I think he's still locked there. But, yeah, I think it's... In my mind, it's still the same, because either way, Dog is still ahead of everybody else in the standings. If they reflect the current way it's going, then nothing really changes.
Okay. Interesting. I'm just reading the clarification. That's
Yeah.
hell of a pickle.
They all have the same 3-0 score for the time being, right? So that's kind of why that's a really tricky part. So Dog here is actually going to push for a lot of damage. Now my question to you is: do you think there's a way in which Hotform is ever able? I mean, Dog is pushing for a lot of damage, but where Hotform is able to stall? Because I feel like the amount of damage coming in is just too much. Like he'd need to find BGH, but that doesn't deal with the weapon. If he finds a silence, then it's still a 6/6. He'd have to find the owl plus the BGH with abusive, and then trade into the other minions. So it's a very specific scenario. So he might just have to taunt up this turn.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go Azure Drake cycle, then play Twilight Guardian, trade the heal bot, and trade
he has
his
a Soulfire for 6 damage, right?
Yeah.
And he has to go for that. So he plays Twilight Guardian first and then Soulfires.
Yeah, he needs to taunt up, exactly. No real choice, but now, does Dog have the lethal? We see he's got 6 damage and 1 zombie child that he can't play.
Ooh.
And that's 8 damage. No, actually he couldn't, he still couldn't attack with the spider.
Well, he can attack with the spider first and then taunt it up, and I think that's the best option.
Wow, could it be the Dog is unable to seal this game completely? I think either way.
8, 10, 14, 15 damage for Dog next turn.
Right.
15, 18, so he's free of lethal. Wait, he actually has lethal next turn. He actually has lethal, because Black and Corruptor, Abusive Surgeon, and Hellfire for...
And Hellfire for, exactly, yeah.
If the Azure Drakes will live.
But it might be a tie. If he's low enough on health, right? If Dog doesn't...
Oh, yeah, right.
It might be a Wait, what? No way. So you have to pop the Drake and talk.
Oh my god, he pops the Drake.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so no way of having Leaf of Hotform here and making a draw here.
Unless he Abusive Sergeants a Spider and then trades the Drake, then Hellfires is on 1 health, and somehow, there's no way in which that works out. So Dog does take the win against Hotform. There was no second Chow, so I guess the curse has been broken for now, but nothing is less certain. We've seen it come back.
Yeah, so Dog is winning the first game and securing the Paladin, which was very interesting.
Right.
So now, I guess the second pick for Dog will be Rogue. He goes almost always with Rogue as the second pick, if he wins, of course.
Yeah. So confirmation, by the way, is that if Dog wins, as we said, he gets first place and Life Coach is second. In the case where Hotform wins, from what I gather, just looking at the standings, I think Dog is first and Cypher ends up second, unless I'm mistaken. But we'll have to see. It's kind of what it looks like. So Dog with the Prep early in his hand. You know, Prep is one of those cards that some people throw back in their starting hand, and I'm always surprised. I think it's surprised to see people throw it back.
I think it's an awesome card that you want to keep if you're going second. If you're going first, then you will most likely want to keep it. First, then you will most likely to throw it away because you need cards like Deadly Poison, you need cards like Backstabs, you need cards like StarSeries, and just Palette Shredders. But when you're going when you're going second, and you can just abuse cards like Sprint on turn 4 against control decks, it's probably the most important thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard not to play this, not to keep Prep. Even against aggro sometimes, you can pull off some crazy tempo turns. It's one of those broken... It's kind of like Innervate. Like, would you throw back Innervate?
No, most likely not. But at the same time, Preparation is not broken as an Innervate because it doesn't allow you to build board control before your opponent can.
Dog is like another zombie chow. Dog actually smiled at the zombie chow. I don't know if you caught that. He literally just laughed at the fact that zombie chow showed up again.
Well, that's a good pick. PO or Abusive Surgeon, both are really good. Both could have similar role, but the PO has a bigger swing.
Yeah, I feel like the PO is a bit more flexible. I mean, the Abusive is more flexible, that is, because you can use it with BGH.
Yes, exactly.
Like on Lotheb, for instance, against something like a Rogue. But it's not necessarily going to be needed, because very often the Rogue will use the Oil to buff their Shredder to 7. It's only good if you hit like a 3-attack minion with the Oil, and then you're 1 damage or 1 attack off of BGHing it.
So now Dog is pushed to just use the hero power, and I was thinking about playing Thanos of just Backstab.
Well, I mean, I think he's waiting to get a really good Fan of Knives, or go for the Violet Teacher next turn. Violet Teacher is really sick next turn, right? Violet Teacher, and then you Backstab, Prep, Fan of Knives, finish off the 2-1. You have a bunch of 1-1s, and you're saying good luck to that Warlock.
Well, the Technician kind of complicates things, but it's still a very powerful turn.
Alright, he's gonna go for
the Falnos instead.
Yeah.
So Falnos backs up for 3 and attack with the weapon into the 2/3, and then you can clear with Fan of Knives.
Well, you can eviscerate on the 3/5, right? For 5, and then you kill everything.
Why would you? Yeah, but we would clear it anyway. Because the backstab is 3 damage, and Fan of Knives is 2. So you would use Fan of Knives instead of Eviscerate here, and still have Eviscerate for bigger solo minion like an Azure Drake.
No, he didn't have the mana for it unless he prepped, right?
Well, yeah, but you draw a card.
Right, I think his goal is to keep prep for something, like he really wants to keep that prep. It's valuable to get a sprint with a prep against a Warlock who's going to card advantage you out of the game. That's my assumption. Then again, it's Dog. I think he knows what he's doing a lot more than I am when it comes to Rogue. He's one of the
well, my assumption
better
was
players.
To have better value from the Fan of Knives when your opponent is actually playing multiple minions on board, and you will get multiple damage from the Fan of Knives. At the same time, you are cycling through the deck by 1 card, and you still have the burst damage potential, right?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Makes sense. Now, in this case, however, he gets the prep sprint. If he picks up another prep, he could kill that Drake with the Teacher if he wants. But if he doesn't, then he's just going to play the minion game and let Hotform wipe the board once, and he's just going to replenish it again.
And the Alexstrasza's already in hand.
Oof.
Well, you can't use that. If you use the Hellfire, you lose your Twilight Drake next turn.
Yeah, probably not worth it. Just getting the coil. Leave the 1/1s there because you kill them anyway with the Hellfire. So. And the BGH is used despite the abusive. He's pushing for lethal as fast as possible. He sees the Alex. He's like, I have abusive, I have PO, I have Dark Bomb, double Hellfire. This looks like a lot of damage, right?
It's interesting that he's not keeping the Big Game Hunter, especially if there will be a low tip for 10-5, right? And you can just abusive Sergeant that and Big Game Hunter.
Yeah, I think Hotform is trying to turn on the aggressive gears at this stage. Well, Twilight Drake number 2.
Tap into Twilight Drake, or well, nah, it has still to be Twilight Drake here because it's not weak to the board, which Azure Drake is, and you can still Azure Drake with Dark Bomb for 4 damage, which might make a difference for opponent's Azure Drake, of course.
Yeah, Hotform does get a his Drake sapped.
Prep.
That's not good.
Second prep will allow for some shenanigans with the Tinker Shop Sword Oil, but there's still nothing like that in Dog's hand.
You have to double Hellfire, right, in order to clear the board, and then you hope that
6 damage to the face.
You can Alex yourself, right? If you're not dead here, unless they're stealthy deckhanded with prep.
Well, he used both eviscerates already. He just reloads the minions, and that's a smart way of saying, well, you just used 2 Hellfires. You have the Shadow Flame to clear the one threat that is an immovable object if you don't have the Shadow Flame. That's a very clever play with the Shadow Axis now. It feels obvious, because you don't have anything else in the hand, but it's a very tough nut to crack for Hotform because there'll always be a target now for the Tinker Sharpsword Oil.
Yeah, well, as long as it's stealthed, he's good to go. He has seen the Hellfires, so there's only 1 AoE left. And Dog here picks up the Lotheb. We talked about Hotform not keeping the Big Game Hunter for the abusive to kill the Lotheb, and that might come back to bite him. Dog doesn't have the other sap yet, but he can just do whatever he wants. Prep, sprint for 4, find the other burst, and he can even play Lotheb on the back of that.
And now that Abusive Sergeant with Big Game Hunter would look very appealing.
He has another BGH though, right? Like, just remember that. There is in the Malagos list.
I know. But whoa! Minibot is one of the most insane drops in this situation.
I mean, like, it still will die to, like, attack plus Shadow Flame, but you save 3 damage from your face by doing so. And it never dies to AoE in a case like this. And now... Oh, man, Hotform is going to be scrambling for answers.
For a Big Game Hunter? Nope.
He has to trade away the heal bot and kill that Lothar immediately.
Yep. That's what he has to do. And now, how much damage is that? That's 5. That should be lethal.
6, 7, 8, 9, 15.
Yeah, definitely lethal.
17. Actually, with Flurry, that's lethal. Yep, that's it. That will be the game. The face damage is too much.
5, 9, 11, 15. Exactly 19 damage. For Dog. He does it again with the Rogue.
Yeah, Dog is basically the single most hellbent player when it comes to playing Rogue and winning with it. We know it used to be Hyped that brought Rogue to every single tournament, but even Hyped, as you told me, started to stray away from it a bit.
Yeah.
Even with TGT, wasn't too impressed. However, has his mind changed with League of Explorers, or is it still, still the same on that front?
Excuse me, can you repeat? This guy was again cutting up.
Sure. Does Hyped, like with the advent of League of Explorers, has he changed his mind, or is he still in the same point?
After the League of Explorers, right. But it seems like for the League of Explorers did change the situation for Rogue with Brand to the middle Rogue, right? And that's it. Like there are no other additions, right?
The only thing that might change is the metagame. If the metagame changes, then Rogue's viability comes, it becomes very different. Usually that's kind of how Rogues work, or have worked in the past, is when the meta supports them, they just dominate. And if it doesn't, then they just don't exist at all. Like, the class as a whole is just gone. Alright, it's Dog with a Wild Growth. And the Aspirant.
And the Nasus Aspirant, so that's a huge difference for him. And now, it's very interesting that the Hotform has to choose. Either he develops the minion that kills the Nasus next turn, and he allows his opponent to have a free drop on Cure, or he just goes for the immediate answer and leaves the Druid alone with the cards.
I like that a lot better, because the worst case scenario is Shade. And if Shade comes, like, if you miss, you play Rockbiter, you kill the Aspirant, there still might be a Wild Growth, right? Like, you're still not out of the woods. And if a Shredder comes out on the following turn, then you might, in this case, it's Keeper, but it could have been Shredder. And in that case, the Golem was able to challenge it immediately.
Look at that. Turn for Dr. Boom. Should definitely go for it, right? Especially that you have good follow-ups with Pile the Shredder into Hero Power, which is insane. Even with the Hex here, it's not an easy turn for Hotform. He has to play the Zombie Chow to battle for card advantage.
It's still a good turn for him, though. I think the Hex really negates the threat that Dr. Boom represented, because he still keeps a full health Shredder. Well, not full health, but, first part of the body Shredder. And he's got a Zombie Chow, so... Well, perfect bomb! Takes a bit of damage away, but doesn't kill it.
Yeah, still a good turn for Dog here. He developed the board. He doesn't care about the Zombie Chow. Still keeps the bomb, and this is a very good decision by Dog, because we know that Hotform has no easy way to deal the 1 damage apart from Earth Shock, and you don't want to lose Earth Shock for that. So he keeps that bomb just to have an option, a small chance of killing the Fire Elemental or another drop that dropped on turn 6 with just a single bomb.
Alright, Dog has the combo in hand already. That's the point where you're thinking, well, how can I rush down that Shaman, and at the same time also, eventually get him low enough that he's gonna die to combo immediately, and maybe have enough sticky minions, on the board so that the Shaman is scrambling to take them out.
Well, he needs a Shade of Naxxramas for that. That's what he needs. Shade of Naxxramas or a Gilbin Stalker from Pulse Shredder.
Right, a guaranteed stealth. Do you think we'll see Hotform bring out Rockbiter on the Zombie Chow and kill the I think Hotform is in a great spot here. It's...
Yeah.
Wow, that is gonna be rough. That's gonna be rough for Dog.
The zombie chow does some work here to sacrifice himself with the dog biter.
Oh, the swipe!
Wow!
What a good timing. That is so good for Dog.
He's able to clear Fire Elemental, Azure Drake with his hero power, and sacrifice with the Murloc attacking into the Azure Drake.
And he plays the
still has
Aspirant.
a minion.
Right,
Yes.
he can still play the Aspirant, which challenges the 2 health Trog directly. I mean, sure, you'd like to have the swipe with the Drake on 9, but if it's not realistic, then just take what's given to you. And this is as good as it's going to get, especially now Hotform with no option in his hand other than Alec here as a standalone minion. And rather than playing it alone, you'd probably want to play it with something else. So we probably will see Flame Tongue for the trade, set it up for Alec here. Nope, not even, just pushing.
This is
Wow.
the turn when you, if that will be the beta, this is the turn when you ask your opponent, well, do you have the Black Knight?
Oh, this is so far back in the past, though. Oh man, the Black Knight.
Druid of the Clone Extend also helps a little. The Flame Tongue Totem doesn't get anything for Hotform. The Hex.
Yeah,
Seems
this
like
is a very...
necessity, right?
That was absolutely solid for Hotform. Not so much because it removes a minion as much as it allows you to use those quote-unquote bad minions that you've got to stay safe. All you want to do with these guys on the board right now is keep them protected. And the Belcher for Dog.
Oh my god.
Wow. Unbelievable. And Dog is not going to fall for the trap of letting something like an Abusive Sergeant or, Azure Drake draw 2 cards, something along those lines. Fire Elemental, hitting for 6.
Well, that helps too.
It's helpful.
But Dog will just go for the face damage with combo.
Hotform
my
leaves.
God.
All right, Hotform gives Dog another 3-0 for the 5th 3-0 of the day.
What a day. 5 3 zeros. What?
All right.
And that's the, okay. We cast Hearthstone for a long time now. It's like almost 2 years, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Well, the competitive scene formed quite late.
About a
on.
year. Yeah, about a year or so.
Yeah, but so let's say it's around more than 1 year. And this is the first time I remember that we had, or at least I had a day when every single match was a 3-0 or a XO.
Yeah, no, it's the first time, and especially we're talking 5 matches of very high caliber players. So the scores can be seen here. It's like basically based on the results, Dog is the only player who was able to get 3 wins and 1 loss in the group stage. Hotform ended up with 1 and 3. If I'm not mistaken, and Life Coach is second with 2 and 2. So apparently the head-to-head does not matter as much as the score and the point differential, which means that Life Coach is slightly ahead of Cypher, which means that Dog Life Coach moved directly onwards to phase 2 of the group stage, and Cypher and Stan Sifka will be going to the last chance qualifier to get a chance to come back later on. And Hotform, well, he's knocked out.
Yeah, unfortunate for Hotform. It's very interesting because Purple, Hotform, Firebat and Striveco were all eliminated in the first group stage. 4 really good players, Hotform the runner-up of World Championships 2015. So kind of has to feel bad when you have that kind of performance in the group stage with a round robin like that. But yeah.
I mean, you bring decks with zombie chows, and when somebody asks why it happened, you just say, "Oh, it's the zombie chows." It's not my fault. It's just the zombie
It's not my
chows.
fault. I played 6 zombie chows. Like I played 90 cards in my lineup, but 6 of them were zombie chows. It's my own fault.
Pretty much. So at least there's an explanation for it. So that being said, guys, we are done for the day in the first group stage. One thing to keep in mind is tomorrow, I think we will have one of the tournaments that will be run on this channel, right? One of the Chinese tournaments with Aquablood and Raven casting it, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me check the schedule. But that one was happening today at 10 a.m. And tomorrow is 9th December. So yes, there will be a tournament as well with Aquablood and Raven from 10 a.m. CAT tomorrow on this channel, the Chinese division of this tournament. And
the last chance
and
qualifier. will be a long time from now. I think it'll start in the 22nd of December for the beginning of the last chance qualifiers for the StarLadder, right? We'll keep going with that. And then we'll know who will be going potentially out of that bracket and onwards to the LAN finals.
Yeah, but tomorrow with the second group stage, we'll be starting with the group between, I think there will be Ties and Surrender at least. I'm not sure who else will be that group, but it will be cast by Tanner Grace, and that's admirable. What a huge cast!
Yeah, it's going to be PvP Live all over again. Yeah, we have all the players for group stage number 2, by the way. We have Tyson Amos from group A, Trump and Jab from B, Kalento and Surrender from C, and Life Coach and Dog from the group D. So that's all the players are going to be making it guaranteed to group stage 2. And yeah, you can tune in and check that out. So on that note, thanks for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed this. There's more to come, of course. So until then, have a nice one.
Bye-bye.